First twist, that one made me kind of gasp out loud. First one was dark. The second one is really dark. I am happy to report that I have found my first 5-star of the year. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today's video I thought would be fun to do. I anticipate that it might take a bit of time to film this video because the video that you are watching right now is going to be the video where I continuously read until I find a book that I give 5 stars. So I've seen a lot of people do this and I want to see how long it takes for me to get a 5-star, because I realized from doing my reading wrap up for 2023 that I didn't really give that many books 5 stars. So I tend to be kind of picky when it comes to 5 stars. I give out a lot of 4 stars, 4.5 stars, but 5-star criteria for me is it has to make me feel something. Like if that's like giddy, if it's like a romance book, or like have something impactful that I continuously think about, or something that I have such a fun time with and again I can't really stop thinking about it, or even if a book makes me cry, which that doesn't really happen very often, but I don't know how many sad books I've read recently, so I thought this video would be fun. So right now I am reading 2 books, and I have been doing this since I got my Kindle. I got my Kindle for Christmas. So on my Kindle, I'm reading Never Lie by Frida McFadden. This is my first Frida McFadden, and I'm 50% of the way through, and I'm gonna be honest, I am a little bored. And a lot of people said that this is the best Frida McFadden. Another really popular one is Housemaid's Secret or something like that. I actually gifted that to my nanny, the physical copy, for Christmas, so I also want to read that one, see what I think. I haven't really been in a thriller mood. It's hard for me to be in a thriller mood. I usually read either romance or fantasy at the moment, but again, I was in the mood to pick up a thriller, but right now it's just a little boring, so hopefully it picks up. This one is basically about this girl and her husband, and they get snowed in and they're stuck at this big house that they were supposed to see for a viewing. The person that used to own the house was this renowned psychologist. She like wrote books and stuff, but she disappeared a couple years ago and nobody really knows what happened to her. And there's some weird things that are happening in the house, and she also finds all of the recordings of all of her patient encounters, so she's starting to listen to some of those. So like the premise sounds interesting, it's just like where I am at the story at this point is just a little slow to me. And then the physical book that I'm reading that I just started last night is Dying to Meet You. Now this is our book club book of January, and another fun fact, so all of my friends in our book club, we all went to high school together, and we actually went to high school with the author of this book. Really exciting. A couple of my friends have already finished the book. I started this last night. I'm only like on chapter 4, which is like page 31, but I'm liking it so far. From what I can tell from the story so far is this girl, she's in university. When she was younger, she drowned, like she fell through ice and she drowned, and she miraculously survived. But after she survived, now she has the ability to see these ghosts, and nobody knows why that's the case. Anyways, she's in university at the point in this book, and right now I'm up to the part where, which is very early on in the book, there's been a student in one of her classes has been murdered, and the night before she has a dream that's almost the exact same as what happened to the girl, if that makes sense, like the night before. So I have a feeling that I'm gonna like this, and I am excited because, like I said, I know the author, so that's pretty cool. So I will let you know how these go. Yeah, I don't know how long this video is gonna go on for, but we will see. Hello, it is Monday. I forget the last day that I spoke to you. I am wearing my comfort little cozy jacket because it's just one of those days. I finished a book, so I thought I would update you. So I finished Never Lie. Unfortunately, it was not a 5-star for me. I think I gave it a 3.5, and I liked it, but I felt at some parts it was slow and a little boring. The ending, the twist, one of the first twist, that one made me kind of gasp out loud, so that was good. When I'm reading a thriller, I want to be shocked. I feel like it was a good twist, but I kind of had a sense of, in general, I'm trying to be very vague, so it's not like spoiler. It's not like a spoiler. I kind of knew something of that nature was coming, but I didn't know exactly what. That one was my first Frida McFadden. I think I'm still gonna try The Housemaid, and there might be another one that people have said is really good. So I was a little disappointed. I thought it would be higher than that, but again, thrillers really have to wow me. And I am pretty far into Dying to Meet You. I'm enjoying this, but not as much as I thought I would. I still think it's a good book, and I'm really impressed that this is her first book. So I'm on chapter 23 right now, and I'm finding that there's parts of the book that I'm really interested in. I really want to know what happens, and then there becomes these lulls, and I try to get through those parts, and they're not as entertaining. I don't know if this is just a me problem at the moment. I'm excited to see where this goes. This is the first book in a series, so I'm liking the characters so far, and I just think it's really creative, the kind of world that she's building. It's in modern real world, but the magic almost. It's about demons and angels, and just kind of how she mapped that all out. I'm really impressed. So I am going to continue with this today, and hopefully I will be finished it, because like I said, this is our book club book. It's only halfway through the month, and I don't know exactly when we're going to be meeting, but 2 of my friends have already finished, so I would like to get this one done. And I started a new book on my Kindle. We're doing it. It is Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. Now, I read Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton earlier this month, and I enjoyed it. I do think that there's a little bit too much spice in it for my liking, and the kind of spice, but I really liked the storyline, and that one was sort of a romantic suspense, so I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I really liked her writing. So I have seen this everywhere. This is the first book in the cat and mouse duet, and I've heard that this is very, very dark, probably one of the darkest reads that you could ever read. And I did read the whole trigger warning list, and it's quite extensive, so I'm a little nervous to get into it, but a lot of people enjoy it. And like I said, I read her other one just to kind of dip my toes in to see if her kind of stories were something that I would be interested in. And like I said, I did enjoy the other one, so I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I'm not too far into this. I think I'm only 1 or 2 chapters in this. That's the update for now. Hello, I'm back with another little reading update. So I finished Dying to Meet You, not last night, the night before. And I liked it, but unfortunately it wasn't a 5-star. I liked it. I would just say that the pacing was a little slow for me at times, but it's understandable because this is going to be the first book in, I believe, a trilogy is what she has mapped out. So it was a good setup, and I did like the story and kind of where everything's going. But yeah, it just wasn't a 5-star for me. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it's really rare that I give a book 5 stars. It has to really impact me in some way, but this was still good, and I still recommend this. I continued on with Hunting Adeline, and I'm not too far into it. I'm only 82 pages in, which is only 15%, but I'm enjoying this so far. It hasn't gotten super dark yet. There are some dark themes going on right now, but I'm enjoying it so far. and I do actually have to go to the hospital tomorrow after class for an appointment. So I am going to bring this with me, and I'm gonna get some reading done because I do have to wait around, and I'm taking the subway, so just to have something to do. And then the physical book that I am reading at the moment, that I just started last night, is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. So I have read 3 of Ali Hazelwood's books before. The first one that I ever read was her first release, which was The Love Hypothesis, and I did give that one 5 stars when I read it. And then her other 2, I think I gave like a 4 and like a 3 stars. So I've enjoyed all of them, and they were all STEM romances. And this is actually her first young adult, and this is about chess players. I'm only, I think, 50 pages in at the moment, something like that. But I am enjoying this. I'm really looking forward to picking it up again. I am really enjoying the fact that there is chronic illness representation. Her mother actually has rheumatoid arthritis, so that's really awesome to see in a young adult book, and to bring some awareness and voice to chronic illnesses in general. So I am enjoying this read so far, and I'm excited to continue with this. Hello, we are back with another book update, another reading update. Today is actually January 26th, and today is 3 years since I was diagnosed with cancer. So today's been kind of a weird day. This day, each year as it comes, I start to feel different emotions. I finished Haunting Adeline on my Kindle, and I finished that. I actually had to go to the hospital for a couple of appointments. I had a Holter monitor on for the weekend, so I had to go on Friday to get it on, and then to get it put on, and then I had to go on Monday just to return the Holter monitor. So I took the subway from school to downtown, and then I took the train home, and then I had to take the train and the subway there on Monday. So I had, anyways, long story short, I had a lot of time to read, so I finished that. It wasn't a 5 star. It was very, very close. I don't know if I gave it a 4 or 4.5 stars. I think I gave it a 4 stars because there was definitely things in it that just like bothered me. The guy is a walking contradiction, but I really enjoy this author's writing style, and I felt like I just had to keep reading because I wanted to know what happens. And it ends off on a cliffhanger, and I kind of guessed the cliffhanger, but I immediately started the second book when I was on the train, and I had to like hook it up to my hotspot on my phone because I was on the train and I didn't have it downloaded on my Kindle. But I was like, oh my gosh, I need to know what happens. So I started Hunting Adeline, which is the second one. It's a duet, so there's 2 books, and the first one was dark. The second one is really dark. Like I had to take a little bit of a break from it because, oh my goodness, it is really dark. So keep that in mind if you ever think to read it, if you haven't read it, or if you have any inkling to read it. It is very, 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 very dark. But it was, for some reason, like I couldn't put it down. But like I said, there was some things that I didn't personally agree with, and I know in dark romance, like there's a lot of like really dark themes, but there were some parts of it that just like made me really uncomfortable, and I thought, why do we really need to include this in the book? And then I just, like literally like 5 minutes ago, I just finished Check and Mate, and I gave this one a 3 stars. It's definitely not my favorite Ali Hazelwood. I did enjoy it, but this one is very, very heavy on the chess, and I don't know anything about chess, so I was a little bit lost and a little bit bored at some times, and I feel like this isn't her typical romance. Like there's not a lot of romance going on. Like there's like a little part of it that like they're romantically involved and then the rest they're not. It's mainly about like the main girl, and then I feel like the romance is kind of like a side plot. So it was still good, not a 5-star unfortunately. So my next book, I've been trying to figure out which book I want to read next physically, because I have so many books that I want to get to, but obviously I can't be reading like 10 books at a time because then I'll just get really confused. So I think I've decided on Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. Now I am a little bit nervous going into this one because I read Magnolia Park's and I read Daisy Hates. Magnolia Park's, I wasn't obsessed with it. Daisy Hates I liked a little bit better, but I've heard that this one is a lot of people's favorite and something happens in it that apparently is just like wild, because the last book from Magnolia and BJ's point of view, which are the characters that this book is about and the first book is about, that book is coming out in February and I want to get to that one, so gotta continue on in the series. So hopefully I like this. I've heard from a lot of people that it does get better like after the first 2 books, so we will see. Hello, it's been a bit since I did an update. If you can hear the congestion coming from my voice, it's because I got sick this weekend, so I've been trying to recover. I had to miss some school, but anyways, I did finish another book. I finished Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home, and I did end up annotating it because there was so many really beautiful quotes in this. Now I did give this one 4 stars. 2 things. One thing is I think this was a little long for me. I think it took me like 10 days to read this, which it's not a race or anything to read, but usually if a book is taking me that long, like I really have to be gripped by the story, and I felt like some of this was a bit repetitive. And the other thing too is it's only following 2 characters' point of view, so you're kind of getting some of the other characters in the background but without context, which was a little bit annoying, which I know I'll have to go into the next book to figure out along that same timeline what's happening with them. But I really was interested to know what was going on with them, but wasn't given any context. I definitely think that I enjoyed this one a lot more than the first one. The first one was about Magnolia and BJ, and then this is their second one. I think I still like the storyline of Daisy and Christian and like that whole perspective, but the ending of this, oh my goodness. I knew that I was going to be sad because I've seen a lot of people's reactions. I was kind of preparing myself for it and I was kind of trying to guess what was happening, and it felt like whiplash. There was like something that happened that I thought was going to be the big sad thing, and then it got resolved and I thought, okay. And then the last 3 pages, I was like, oh my goodness. It takes a lot for me to cry in a book. I did tear up a little bit, but the last paragraph of this book gave me chills. It was so good. So I was planning on doing a little bit of a palate cleanser between this one and the last one that's out right now, but I have to go into the next one, which is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. Now this one I have high hopes for. I think that this has a lot of potential to be a 5 stars. I've seen so many people say that this is the best one, and I've seen some really good reviews, early reviews of people that are getting early copies of the last Magnolia and BJ one that's coming out this month in February. So I will be all caught up for the last one. And there's one thing at the end of this book that's about one of the characters in this, and I was like, I really just need to go in and figure out what's going on. So I'm excited to start this tonight. I am still reading Hunting Adeline. I was able to read some. I went to the hospital last week. I had an echo, so I had to go on the train, so I had lots of time to read. I'm only 36%, but it is a 516 page book, so I am enjoying this so far. I will say it is a lot darker than the first one, but I'm really interested to see what happens. Hello, we are back in the same spot. It is quite a few days later. I can't remember when the last time I gave an update. It's been quite the ride this last week. I developed a sinus infection. I got an antibiotic. Turns out I'm intolerant to that antibiotic and it went right through me. And I was at school, so that was traumatic. So I'm at home and I'm going to be trying a different antibiotic, but anyways, that has nothing to do with this video, but I just thought I'd give a little life update. But I did finish another book. I am happy to report that I have found my first 5-star of the year. Now this was quite a journey. As I was saying, I had read Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home, which is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Park's universe, and I definitely enjoyed this one better than the first 2, but I said that it kind of felt a little bit repetitive, and I did say that it felt long. And the newest book that just came out literally yesterday as I'm filming this is actually 700 pages, so, but I think it's gonna be good. But anyways, I did enjoy this one, but it didn't give me that 5-star feeling. So I've been kind of tiptoeing around 4 stars and 4.5 stars, but I finished Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, not yesterday, the night before, and I loved this one. There's so many beautiful quotes in it. You get so much character development. So if you've never heard of, well, you probably have heard of this series, but if you've never heard of this series is following this group of people in high society London, and they're all rich. It's basically like the drama around their lives. It's been like kind of compared to like Gossip Girl in London. And the first book and the 3rd book is following Magnolia and BJ, and then the 2nd book and the 4th book is following Daisy, Christian, and Julian. In these books, there's a bit more of a plot line because Julian and Christian as well, and Christian's brother, are all involved in kind of like gang activity. They steal art for a living, and yeah, there's just like that whole extra piece to that, which I think that's one of the reasons why I think I enjoy these books over the Magnolia and BJ ones like a little bit more. And I also enjoy the relationship between Daisy and Christian and how that develops. But there's a lot of drama in these, there's a lot of sadness, but there's a lot of lightheartedness. There's a lot of sad things that do happen in these books, and the way that this author, Jessica Hastings, the way that she writes, you really feel for those characters, which is something really special, I think. And I've said this before, but I found when I read the first book, that Magnolia, I found that she was really annoying. And then you come to find out a little bit more of what she's been through in this book. But it was actually this book that I felt even more connected to her and felt more like I enjoyed her character because I'm seeing her through the eyes of these characters. And there's just so much like character development, and you're just following these characters along just their journey of life and these hardships that they're going through. And both of these end off on quite a cliffhanger, especially this one, because they're both told in the same timeline. It's just different people's perspectives. And at first I thought that that would be really repetitive, but I was really happy that I got like a lot of questions answered, that when you read this one, things are going on in the background and you're like, wait, I want to know what's happening, but it shows up in this because it's these characters in this book point of view, if that makes any sense. But we found one, and that means that is the end of this video. So wow, what a ride. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and let me know what you're reading, or if you have had a 5-star read yet, and if so, what has that been this year? I would love to know, because I'm always searching for life-changing books. I do have so many books on my shelves to still read, so that is going to be a mission, but always so happy to find one of those books that just make me feel something, you know? Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.